Next, let's talk about the measure of central tendency. Right, the measure of central tendency. Now, what exactly this measure of central tendency said is, if you have a data, you have collected the data. Let's take an example that you have collected the data from your class, and you want to find out the average height of the student, average height of your class, or average attendance percentage, or average marks of your class, something like that. So whenever you deal with the average, which means on an average or approximately, you will get the middle value. Middle value. For example, let's take average of your class, you got 50. Which means you say that on an average, maybe your class marks, a few highest marks will be 70, or few lowest marks will be 30, 35, like that. But on an average, your class marks is 50%, something like that, right? So similarly, measure of central tendency is also deals with a method which will allow you to find a central value from the data. So we have a few methods comes under measure of central tendency. The very first method what we have is mean. It is also called as arithmetic mean, or it is also called as average. All these are different names. Okay, don't get confused. All are same, right? Similarly, we have the second one called as median. Second one, median, and third one we have mode. These are the three very important, and most of the people will be knowing this mean, median, mode. You would have studied from your 9th standard, and like you would have studied from your schools only, right? But right now we are going to add two more in it, that is the fourth one and the fifth one. Fourth one will be GM. It is called geometric mean, and the fifth one is harmonic mean. Harmonic mean, right? So like that, there will be total 5 measure of central tendency that we are going to study in our syllabus. So what are we going to do is, we are going to discuss each method one by one, and we will see how to calculate the mean, median, mode, geometric mean, and harmonic mean in each, like group data, ungroup data, discrete, continuous, everything. I hope you would have watched the previous video what we have uploaded. It's related to the different type of data and the different type of class interval. That's the reason I have explained that first in the beginning only, so that you should not have any kind of confusion whenever you go through this particular thing, right? So make a note of it, and then we'll move on to the arithmetic mean, and we will see one by one how it works in a group data, how it works in ungroup data, and so on, right? We have a different methods in it as well, so we will see each method. Before that, pause the video to note it down. Okay, so now let's talk about the arithmetic mean, the very first method in the measure of central tendency. During the arithmetic mean, we will be talking about the group data as well as the ungrouped data, right? So let's start with this. So first we are talking about the mean, or you can tell arithmetic mean, or you can tell average. All are same. Okay, arithmetic mean, what does it say? It's a very simple way to calculate that the average value. What exactly it says that add the total number of observation and then divide with the number of observations. Very simple. So let's talk about it. Then basically the formula, we will talk about ungrouped data. Ungrouped data, right? Ungrouped data, if you see what happens in this, the formula will be summation mean, which we denote with x bar. Mean we denote with x bar will be equal to mean equal to summation xi by n. Summation xi by n. So what else it says that? It says add all the value, whatever the observation is given, divided by the total number of observation. Right. So there are few advantages and disadvantages when we solve this arithmetic mean. The advantage will be it is a very simple and easy to calculate, and the disadvantage is It does not include the extreme values. For example, if you have one or two data which is very far from the other data, like let's assume that if you have 50 students in a class, out of 50 students 48 got attendance is above 90%, and two people are irregular people and they have a attendance very less, like 0 or 2 or 3%. In that condition, if you calculate the mean, your average will come down drastically, and that will be the wrong interpretation of the data, right? So whenever there is a few data which is very far from the other data, that time we will not be able to apply the mean. Mean will give you the wrong result. That time we will go for the median, that we will see later, right? So let's see one example for this particular things, how exactly it is happening. So we have this formula example. Let's assume that they have given 2, 5, 7, 3, 1, 2, something like that, right? This is ungrouped data. So according to the formula, this is nothing but your x values. We will assume that. So mean says that summation xi by n, which is nothing but 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So finally you are getting 2 plus 5, 7, 7 plus 7 is 14, 14 plus 3 is 17, 18, 18 plus 2 is 20, 20 divided by 6 will be 3.33, right? So that will be your average value that from this particular data, right? So this is how we can calculate whenever they have given the ungrouped data, the average value, right? So make a note of it, then we will move further and we will see in a group data how does it work. Right? Next, let's talk about the mean in the group data. Now, in the group data, what happened basically? In group data, we know that we have discrete and continuous. Right? So here, luckily for the discrete and continuous in a mean, we have a same formula for the direct method. Direct method, we have another two methods called assumed mean method, and then we call it as step deviation method. Very famous step deviation method. Assumed mean method we use for a discrete data, and this we use for a continuous data, right? So let's talk about one by one what exactly the formula says. For direct method, your mean equal to summation fi xi by capital N, or you can write summation f. Let me just write capital N, right? So this will be your direct method formula. First, let's solve one question using the direct method, and then we will move further and we'll see how exactly it is working, right? So let's take one example. They have given x and f. I'm taking so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, something like that, right? One simple example I've taken where you have a x and you have a f. Now tell me which data is this particular thing, whether it is a continuous or either it is a discrete. It is a discrete data, right? So formula says f into x. What means? It means you have to multiply f and you have to multiply x. So 1 2 ja 2, 2 4 ja 8, 6 3 ja 18, 8 2 ja 16 and 10. Now if you add these things, you will get summation fi xi. This summation means adding all the value. Remember, summation, this means adding. Okay. So what will happen if you add 10 plus 18 is 28, 28 plus 34, 44 and 54. So finally you are getting 54. Divided by capital N. What is the capital N? Capital N is nothing but the summation of frequency. So 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 3, 9. So finally you can write that 54 by 9, and then can we cancel this? 6. So your average value you are getting as a 6. So this is how we can calculate in the direct method mean in the direct method of the group data, right? So make a note of it, then we will move to the assumed mean method, and then we will move on to the step deviation method. These are all comes under mean only, right? Apart from that also we have few more things that we will see in the next video, but right now you try to do this one. In a discrete assumed mean method, what we say that your mean equal to a plus summation fd by n, right, where your d equal to x minus a. Okay, similarly I will write this both together, or let me just first do this particular thing, continuous data, right? So we will take the same example, we will not change anything. Now here I will erase this part, and then we will talk about it. Anyway, you would have written by now. So here what it is telling is, since it is the assumed mean method come for the discrete data, and we have a formula x bar equal to a plus summation fd by n. First thing, we have f over here, we don't have d, so let's find out the d. To find d, what are we going to do is, we are going to x minus a we have to do. So d is equal to x minus a is nothing but assumed value. What I mean by assumed value, from the x column any value you can take, preferably the middle value. So let me take this as a 6. So here I am taking a is equal to 6, right? So understand this, a is a assumed value which we have to assume from the x column, and preferably it is the middle value. You can take any value if you want, but if you take the middle value, calculation will become a smaller. That's the main advantage to bring all these methods, just to reduce the calculation, right? Okay, so a is equal to that. So 2 minus 6, 4 minus 4, 4 minus 6 minus 2, 6 minus 6 0, 8 minus 6 2, and this will become 4. Can we do like this? X minus 6, these are the x values, one by one you keep subtracting. After that we need f into d here, if you can see f into d. So we have to find one new column, f into d. F into d, what will happen? 1 4s are 4, that is minus 4, 2 2s are 4, minus 4, 0, 2 2s are 4, and 4 1s are 4. Correct? Let's see now what will happen. Now if you add these things, you can see the summation fd is equal to 0. Here it is becoming 0, not necessary that every time the summation d will become the 0, right? We will see few more questions in the practice set in the problem solving series, but right now try to understand this. Whatever the value you are getting here, that we are going to substitute over here. So let's substitute over here, and then what we will get? We will get something like, let me just write here, a is nothing but 6 plus summation fd is 0 divided by n is 9. So this entire part will become 0. Finally your mean will become 6, right? So this is how you can calculate the mean in the assumed mean method. Remember, assumed mean method is applied for the discrete data only, right? So we have to assume the a will be the middle value from the x preferably, and then we have to solve accordingly. Remember, this is not always 0. Don't get confused that it's become a 0, that always it's going to be 0. No, it can be any value that you have to substitute and find out the value, right? So make a note of it, and then we will move on to the step deviation method.